It is 24 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, Sunrise Daily. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Marking. It's 25 degrees here. Today is the 29th day in the month of June. Well, the first half of the year 2026 is just one day to go. And then we'll be in a new half of the year. Once again, welcome to the show.
Indeed, Ayo, as we approach the midpoint of the year, it's always a good time to take stock of how far, those New Year resolutions we had in January, the wonderful things we wish to accomplish before 2026 is over. Now is a good time to take stock of how far we're doing or how far we've come and what needs to be done. Do we need to ramp up? Do we need to energize as we get towards the end of the year? Perhaps that is what the Lagos State government has been doing when it comes to cleaning its streets, keeping Lagos clean. It's been a major challenge for, several administrations. Some of them have handled it better than others. But in recent times, it does appear that challenge is back to the front burner in the last couple of days. So just on Saturday, with the restoration of environmental sanitation Saturday, we also saw the controversy that came with that. Lagos used to have environmental sanitation Saturdays. Then it was scrapped because, according to the court, it impeded freedom of movement. And as a result of that particular exercise was rested. But only recently, the state government brought back, resuscitated that particular idea and brought it to the fore again, but says, well, they're not going to be impeding movement, so they don't think that this is contravening any court injunction. But so far, so good. How has that idea worked for the Lagos State government? It does appear that in recent times, they have had to go around different environments to look at what exactly is happening, and they're not satisfied with the results. So there's an appeal to citizens, and that's something we are bringing to the fore this morning, because this is not just for Lagos. It's going to be for every state that has a major city that is developing and hopes to get to, where Lagos has gotten. Lagos is now called a mega city. It's not called a mega city for nothing. You're looking at over 20 million people as at the last census in 2006. Now, we do not know how many really how many people we have in Lagos. We don't even know how many people we have in Nigeria. We're just guessing. But this is the challenge that we have, because the more we are, the more waste we generate, and the more innovative we have to be to make sure that this waste that we generate does not become a problem to all of us. Well, Ayo, I know you live in Lagos. When the rains come, it can be quite a problem, a challenge to everyone. How would you assess what has happened so far in terms of keeping Lagos clean, the cleanliness of Lagos half year 2026?
I think the good place to start would be whether or not Lagosians themselves are aware of the implications of keeping or not keeping Lagos clean. Just yesterday, it rained briefly, and everywhere was flooded. It was Sunday. Yesterday was Sunday. Everywhere was flooded. I mean, in fact, I got a message that said to me, look, if you are going towards Ojota or some other area towards Maryland, and you just forget about it, just go back home and do whatever it is that you have to do. So, and that's just yesterday. And this is an experience that many people have in different parts of the country, and Lagos no less. Perhaps even because Lagos itself is a lowland area. But having said that, we know that there is always a historical background to everything, and this sanitation thing no less. This was not done by the Lagos State government. It was done by the people of Lagos. Whether or not we understand the implication of some of these activities, that's another thing altogether. Yes, we know that government has its own responsibilities, its job cut out for it. But these kinds of things you see on your screen, this is not what Lagos State government does. This is we, the people, we have to take responsibility at some point. For which reason, I remember, Malcolm, if you would as well, in 1984, March 1984 to be exact, the military government of late President Buhari came in and declared war against indiscipline. And it had 4 phases. Phase 4 was, phase 3 was in August 1984. It focused on environmental sanitation and street cleanliness. This was 1984. And we're still talking about the same thing today. I think it was also the Tinubu government. They also declared kick against indiscipline or some kind of things like that. There's been all of these initiatives. There was a time that Lagosians had, when you entered a commuter bus, there was a bin bag, a bin basket in that bus. Whether or not it's still there now, I don't know. I haven't used one in a while. And I believe that this is part of the initiatives that the Commissioner for the Environment has also been thinking about and tinkering with. Every week, Markwe, even before the restoration of this environmental sanitation Saturday, the markets in Lagos were not open until 10 a.m. for one purpose and one purpose alone: clean the markets. Whether or how effective that has been over time, I guess one will have to go to the markets to see. But does it look like it is getting that kind of effect? That's a matter that is debatable. But generally, the enforcement, okay, when the governor spoke, I mean, you also referenced the governor going to Surulere. And when he spoke about this thing, he's saying that they need to deploy more people for enforcement. And he was talking about the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. Many of us may not live in that environment, but for those who live there, it definitely is a matter for concern that they are indisciplined. The people's attitude to some of these things aren't going the way they ought to go. That said, that's on the side of the people. The government has its own side as well. The last time we spoke with the Commissioner for the Environment, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, he talked about relocating the Olusosun dump site. Marco, if you go there today, I just looked at a video now, the trucks, the compactors that they used to, take this debris or refuse from different parts of the state, they have lined up along that route for days, if not weeks. They've not been able to move to the place where they would dump all these things. And consequently, some of the things that we are seeing on the streets may not be unconnected. There are estates in the city that they, for a long time, I don't know whether many of them have cleared now, for a long time, they had bin bags in front of their houses, their baskets were full and everything to overflowing. If you held a party, trust me, it's just going to be there. So the Lagos State government does have its own job cut out for it. Even when they evacuate these refuse, where do they take them to? The last point on this that I will make is, we all know that recyclable business is a very, very thriving, very, very profitable one. The question is, how do we go about it? Government has come up with all kinds of initiatives. In fact, in certain estates, when you go to the estates, you will find two baskets in front of the many houses there, one for recyclables, one for non-recyclable. You also reference that happening in Abuja as well. The question we want to ask is, how are these systems going? What are the things that's supposed to be done? This is the Olusosun site that I was talking about the other time. It's a battle, it's a struggle for these trucks, the compactors, to be able to load refuse into this place. And believe it or not, there is a city, a community of people living on this dump site, and they have been there for years. The Lagos State government, I really don't envy them, all the people that work in that ecosystem. The LASEPAs of this world, the LOMAs of this, I don't envy them because it's a lot of work. And guess what? It's not going to get any easier. They just have to be innovative and creative about how they go about it, Markwe.
Well, I'll tell you too, I don't pity them either, because as the president said, we asked for the job. I mean, right now, elections are around the corner, and they're coming around again to knock on doors and put their billboards and posters everywhere to say, I want to be this, I want to be that. I want to be House of Reps member, I want to be senator, I want to be governor. This is the work. This is what citizens are, or this is what you're putting up yourself for. Citizens need their refuse disposed. They want good health care. They want good roads. So while the fancy work of doing roads is, and I'll be very honest with you, it's good to build roads. It's one of the things that a lot of people applaud when it happens. But this work you're saying, this not fancy job, this grueling, back-breaking work of getting refuse off the roads and finding a proper way to dispose of it, it's not something a lot of people clap for you for. But I bet you that if any government is able to crack it it's something that they will never be forgotten for, especially when people now get used to having their streets clean. So Lagos State government, they shouldn't get tired. They should continue to get their hands dirty. It was good to see the governor and his wife and the deputy governor's wife, all of them wearing gloves and, physically getting into the dirt. We're hoping that that would encourage more people. But beyond that, they would also do the big work, which is provide the operators that would take this refuse off the streets, that would take them off the roads. In some instances, they've actually been parked by citizens. They're not the ones that open this thing sometimes. They're people who go deliberately to tear open the bags in which they have been put in and, looking in the name that they're looking for things that they can recycle. So they're the ones that sometimes create this mess. As I said, they asked for the job. They have to find a way to crack it. And if they're not able to, and another administration comes in, they certainly have their job cut out for them. This sort of refuse on the roads in Lagos is not very pretty. In fact, it's not pretty. Not that it's not very pretty. It's not pretty at all to look at. Well, that said, we will take a break at this point. We'll also be talking about another major challenge. This time around is around drug abuse. June 26th was World Drug Day. What is Nigeria doing in that regard? How far so far in our journey to get our country rid of illegal drugs and help those who are currently victims of the illicit trade? In just a moment, please stay with us. Every year, the world pauses on June the 26th to observe the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. But while the calendar gives us a day, the reality is that the fight against illicit drugs demands vigilance every single day. Behind every seizure of narcotics is a family spared unimaginable pain. Behind every arrest is an attempt to dismantle criminal networks. And behind every rehabilitation is the restoration of hope and human dignity. Here in Nigeria, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has increasingly found itself at the intersection of law enforcement, public health, national security, and community development. The challenge is no longer just about intercepting illicit substances. It's about protecting lives, preserving our future, and ensuring that our young people are not lost to addiction or organized crime. And we do know that that is not a job for the faint of heart. But so far, so good. Every month, we have seen an amazing amount, let's say a whopping amount of seizures done in quite a number of states, from Abuja to Port Harcourt, Apapa, Edo State, Ogun State, and just yesterday, Borno State. Well, this morning, we're joined by the spokesperson of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Mr. Femi Babafemi, as he joins us this morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, Malcolm. It's always my pleasure being with you. Thank you.
Well, we do know that on Sundays, it does seem like you have made it a point of duty to make sure that the work done during the week, especially, will I say summary of work? I was going to say
arrest and seizures.
Yes, arrests and seizures that are done during the week. You give us a summary on Sundays. And we've begun to look forward to that. It's usually a staple on our bulletin. I'm sure if the editors don't see it, they will most likely ask for it. Has the NDLEA sent anything? But beyond that, it appears that we now have even bigger arrests and seizures involving major international cartels in such a way that people are now beginning to wonder. We thought that this was going to send a message to these people that this Nigeria is no longer comfortable around this business, and you should find another home. But it does appear that in spite of all that is being done, the arrests and seizures, or will I say the discoveries, are growing and becoming bigger in number. What exactly is happening? Is it the more you arrest, the more they are attracted? What would you say is explaining this new phenomenon we're seeing?
All right, thank you for that question. Actually, globally, the drug challenge is a hydra-headed monster. When you cut one, you have 3, 4 more heads growing.
Growing?
Exactly. That's the way it looks like. That's the way it appears. But then the good thing is here in Nigeria and like in some other parts of the world, that's why the theme for this year's World Drug Day is persisting issues, new challenges, and then innovative responses. So, yes, we're doing excellently well, arrests, seizures, going after the assets of the cartels, the barons, and everybody, and then providing support to those who are struggling with substance abuse. That's treatment and rehabilitation. We're doing all of those. And then the issues still persist. So when you do this, you don't take your eye off it. You continue. You remain persistent. Just as the problem is persisting, you remain persistent. And that's why I'll tell you that indeed, in some of the ways we measure this, if you follow some of the conversations online, you will hear some of the young people complaining that, why are you people always seizing this thing? Now, because of what you are doing, a gram of canna has moved from 5,000 naira to 35,000 naira. Yeah, so that's, I mean...
So it's even making the market more lucrative for those
No,
it's
putting pressure
yes.
on the market because of the scarcity. They are complaining that it's getting scarce. So when it gets scarce, it goes out of the reach of majority of them.
People,
yeah.
yes.
And that's why one of the new challenges that is coming up is the new psychoactive substances. When you are mopping up all of those regular stuffs on the streets, and then they are almost left with nothing, then they become also creative to try to create some other things that through which they get the high. And then we continue to go after them as well.
I see the point you're trying to make as to how, because you're clamping down on the ones that were easily available at the low level, you know, there's now pressure. But I mean, a simple law of demand and supply. You know,
where there's a demand.
When demand is high, the price goes up, especially if the commodity is now scarce. So the point I was trying to make is that also provides some sort of incentive for those who are in the business, those who have refused to leave the business.
Yeah, and that's why we don't just do that. We also go after them. That's the cartels, the big barons. And you can see what we're doing now is we've chased them away from the production from the city centers where they used to feel untouchable before. Now they are running into the forest. And from our recent operations, it's also confirmed that we don't just give them a space. They're even right in the forest where they think nobody will see them, nobody will know they exist there. We go after them there and make sure that we dismantle whatever structure they are trying to. You can see the 2 clandestine meth lab that we discovered recently. You see, they are right in the middle of forest. I mean, almost they are the only ones there. But then we're able to take that, and you can see some of the structures coming up, some of the equipment, all of those things. So what we're trying to do is preempt them. When they bring in their experts from other jurisdictions, then we go after them wherever they are trying to deploy those people and remove them out of circulation, dismantle. And they are losing big because the investment, what has gone into some of those things, procurement of those equipment, procurement of the precursor chemicals and all of those things, they run into hundreds of billions. So when they continue to lose, and for us, we don't just do that, we also try to trace their bank accounts as well as their assets. In some of the operations we're doing at the moment, you have billions in some accounts which we're freezing and then trying to get them confiscated, forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. So all of those things we're doing simultaneously to ensure that they are crippled, and it takes a period of time before, and as you can see again, you see some of them. For instance, you look at the Simon Amadi drug trafficking organization. The man himself was arrested in a joint operation with about five countries in Switzerland. Now they are running away from Nigeria to go and hide elsewhere. But because, again, we have built a network across the world to work with our opposites, our counterparts in all of these places, so we're conducting joint operations, and that's exactly what we also confirmed in the Simon Amadi's cartel, the dismantling of that cartel. Simultaneously, while our Swiss counterparts are going after him, there we go after his accomplices in Anambra and in Delta State here, simultaneously, almost to the second. So that's exactly what we're doing. While we're tightening the noose here, we're also working with our counterparts wherever they're hiding across the world to also take them down.
It sounds like a really complex operation. And I'm just wondering, how many officials does the NDLEA possibly have in its employment and is able to do all of this? Absolutely,
we're still looking for more. We're still looking for more hands. But then again, in this time and age, we don't just go. We don't go out bare hands. We also work with technology. We work with intelligence. We work with the people. We believe all Nigerians are part of our workforce, because all our operations are intelligence-based, and for us to achieve that, we need to work with the people, and that's the whole essence of our War Against Drug Abuse, wider social advocacy initiative, to get the buy-in of everybody, for them to take ownership of the fight, so that everybody, wherever you are, you can make use of your sphere of influence to contribute. And I think we appreciate Shanes TV for doing this, because this is part of your own contribution to the whole effort.
Indeed, we'll always do our part, and we'll always, highlight the work that you are doing. One of the, I think, speaking with the DG now, or the chairman? Yeah, the chairman. One time I had the privilege of having the conversation with him, even at different fora. I think he's not hidden the connection that he sees between the rise in insecurity in Nigeria and the problem of drugs, because he believes that these people are not doing it, with just their heads, that they must be high on something, psychoactive substances. Absolutely. Must be enabling them. And I'm just wondering how your intelligence network is really tight, in the sense that you act, when you see a lot of the arrests that you make, one will know that this must have been gotten through intelligence. Yes. Recently I saw one that you posted on Twitter, where tramadol, 250 mg of tramadol, was concealed in a truck and hidden with heavy iron sheet, and you would never have known, been the wiser for
that truck had passed through several borders and checkpoints before getting to Nigeria. Yes.
Is there some sort of incentive? Because I've always wondered, is there some incentive for the people who give you this information?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can't. You definitely like I said, apart from HUMINT, that's the human intelligence, we also work with a lot of. We also have some technological capacity and capability through which we monitor some of these movements. And you will see what has shown in that case of that truck coming from Togo through Benin Republic into Nigeria was, and as a recent international media organization's investigation revealed, the cartels bringing in the opioids. Now it's known to them that it's very risky to come into our ports, whether the seaports or the airports, with these things, because the NDLA would always discover and seize them. Because now we don't just wait here. We try to, from the source countries where they are coming from, we try to connect there and then monitor all the shipments. And in some cases, you will see some of these things are transloaded somewhere in North Africa, just to confuse if there's any law enforcement monitoring. But then we still have a way to discover that this has been transloaded, transshipped, and then by the time they get here, then we track and monitor until we go after them. So what they now do is to then go to some of the neighboring countries, discharge there, warehouse them there, and try to find a way to smuggle them in. And that's exactly what they were trying to do with that truck. You know, warehoused in Togo and then trying to bring them in some thousands, but then they're dead drunk because...
It's a lot of work. I mean, when you think about the operations that needs to go into smuggling, one would wonder...
Yeah, just a lot of work, but then again, a lot of money involved. Just imagine, I mean, some 5-6 years ago, a pill of tramadol was probably about 15 naira. But now a pill in some places goes as high as 1,200 naira, a pill. Yeah, a pill. Just a small carton like this, just like this, a small carton of that tramadol, you see, goes as high as 30-35 million naira in the market. So that's why, for some of them, they would rather die than
on that do honest business.
Yeah, honestly. So
let's talk about judiciary, because just before I send this to my colleague, the judiciary, because I know that that is one place that you know, law enforcement always complains that we do this arrest, we get the people, you know, but getting them through the law courts and getting swift judgments to at least lock them away for a while has been difficult. Has that been the same for you in your experience, or have you had it a little easier?
Yeah, I'll say indeed we've had a very good relationship with the judiciary. The judiciary has been very supportive of the work of the agency, because when you look at our conviction rate is almost 90%, and then in our own case you hardly find any appeal, because we get you with the exhibit there and then, red-handed. And so in a number of cases, there is no ground to even appeal at all. But then there is a small knack there, and that is the issue of option of fine. And we're very grateful that the federal government, through the Office of the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, is addressing that. I think there is an executive bill which will soon get to the National Assembly to amend the law so that there will be that option of fine, so that in a way that when you go in for it, you know, because these days you find people, because they know that there is a loophole for an option of fine. When the judge gives an option of fine, then you find them paying there, whether 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. So, but that I believe is being addressed at the moment, and when that law is passed, then there will be nothing like that. You have probably a minimum of 15, then 25 years in prison. So you know that when you go in, when you are arrested, you are going to jail, and then you lose everything. That's a very strong deterrent now. They know that now the NDLA will not close its eyes to their assets. They lose everything. They lose everything. And some of these things are being auctioned to the public now. So that's a very strong deterrence effect.
Let me take it to Ayo. I know he has questions as well.
Thank you, Mokwe. Mr. Babafemi, it's good to see you again. Mokwe broached the topic, and which you also referenced it a bit, and I'd like you to expatiate a little further about how these drugs come into the country in the first place. Once upon a time, Nigeria was said to be a transit nation, so these drugs just passed through. Now we are not only a consuming nation, we are also a producing nation. That suggests that maybe you want to tell us, are these things produced from brass tacks in Nigeria, or they actually find their way into the country and then you now have to begin to go after them? Because I wonder, if we all hands are on deck, as you said, they should be arrested maybe at the ports or border or the airports or somewhere, so they won't even have to come into the country in the first place.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo, and nice seeing you again. Well, there are some of these substances that are produced locally, and the most commonly abused in Nigeria is cannabis, and that's the one that is that's grown largely. In fact, that used to be in a few states in the south before, some years ago, but now it's now grown virtually in every state of the country. And we also have a very good initiative to address that, which is our alternative development program to and that the pilot scheme of that program was launched in Ondo State a few months ago, where we trying to get these people off cultivation and growing of cannabis to to other alternative crops, cash crops, food crops, so that they can have some alternative livelihoods. That's for cannabis. Now the other thing is this meth thing, and you can see meth is not something is something that is not totally new. There have been years back, there have been efforts to bring in the Mexicans to come and set up the laboratories, the production lines in Nigeria, and that the agency fought them to a standstill. And then there seems to be a renewed effort now at the moment, and that's trying to create a hub in the southwest where they go into the forest to establish this. And but then, unfortunately for them, again, the agency has again been very proactive to ensure that we go after them before they even finish their installation of their equipment, before they start the production proper. We go after them, dismantle all of those things, and this is sending a very strong message to both the local collaborators and the international cartels. That's another thing. Now, for cocaine, heroin, and some of those other class A drugs, they are not produced here. They are actually produced elsewhere in other parts of the world, and then brought in through, definitely, as you would have seen that, for instance, just last week we had a seizure of loud, what we call Canadian loud, that came all the way from Canada. And that particular shipment, we've been on it. We had the intelligence from the moment the shipment actually arrived in Toronto, and then moved to Montreal, and all of those. We had, we kept a tap on all of the movements all through for over 2 months until it got to even first, Tinkan port in Lagos, before it was also moved off the ship and then moved through the container to Apapa. So all of those things we had, we kept track on them, and then during a joint operation with customs and other security agencies, just last week we were able to get that thing, that shipment out, and that's over 4 tons. That's 4,900 and over 4,900 kilograms of that particular, which in street value, it's more than 12 billion naira. So that's exactly what we prevented from coming into the street. So definitely from the port, seaports, airports, it's tight for them. And what they do, like I said again, is for some of these things that we don't produce here, they try to go to neighboring countries through where they try to smuggle them. And as again you saw in the truck that brought in thousands of tramadol through from Togo through Benin Republic into Nigeria, again through our network and intelligence gathering, we're also able to intercept that. So all of this, that's exactly what they do, try to bypass the system, but then we always prove to them that we're steps ahead of them. So that's exactly what happened, and we continue to do that to put pressure on them to ensure that there is no space for them to circulate these illicit substances in Nigeria.
Well, Mr. Babafemi, while as Marco says, it's laudable what you're doing, and as we began the program, we were talking about the fact that those who asked for the job have to do the job. But then, just as you have also pointed out now, 12 billion naira business, that's not something that some apprentice somewhere will start. It's a very, very costly venture, speaking to the fact that there's a high chance that there are big money bags behind these people who would not definitely want their businesses to go under, and consequently we are able to get maybe just the runts on the ladder and not the top guns themselves. What's the effort? What kind of pushback are you getting, about these top guys, the funders of these initiatives? Because we can't deny the fact that they see a market, and then they definitely want to buy into this market whichever way it goes. Whosoever's ox is God, they don't care. So what are the challenges you're having going after the big guns who are doling the real cash behind this business? Because you would agree with me, it is not a cheap business. It's a very, very costly one.
Absolutely. It's a business that has a lot of blood money in it, huge resources. And then again, I would like to assure you, Ayo, and Nigerians out there that indeed what the leadership of the agency, as we speak, we don't just go for the moves, for the traffickers, for the dealers, but then it may take time, but then ultimately we go for every shipment. The agency ensures that we trace it up to the last person on the ladder. That's the big barrel. And that's, I mean, there have been several instances, and in General Marwa's remark at the World Drug Day last Friday, he indeed put that figure out that in the last 5 years thereabout, we have taken out of circulation more than 240 barrels, and that's the correct thing, because for us, we don't just leave we don't just go after the mules, the traffickers, the dealers. We ensure that for every case, there have been some of them that will take years, because like I said, again, they now know that it's, I mean, Nigeria is a very hostile environment for them. They have to go and hide elsewhere, and then, but then we still keep a tap on them there, working with our counterparts from in those jurisdictions to ensure that we monitor them until we're able to strike and get them down. And that's exactly what we did, like I said, in the case of Simon Amadi. I mean, quite billions of drug money was going through his account, and he was operating, setting up hotels at front in Nigeria. But then we kept moving until we were able to get to the last man himself and located him in that case. We had to work with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. We have to work with the Swiss authorities, have to work with Greece authorities, we have to work with French authorities, we have to work with okay, now, and the NDLA in Nigeria, we have to work with everybody. It's a multi-country, multi-jurisdiction operation. So this is exactly what we're doing to ensure that these people, no matter who they are, no matter how highly placed they are, and that's exactly again what happened in the case of the Ogun Forest Meth Lab. We went to Ogun East, I mean the Ijebu East, where we discovered this thing, but the man was chilling in his house in Lekki, thinking that nobody would connect him with what is happening in the Ogun Forest. But then, simultaneously, just as a team of our operatives were in Ogun Forest, dismantling his blood infrastructure, drug infrastructure, another team was in Lekki, taking him down where he was chilling in his mansion there. So that's exactly what we do. We don't just dismantle the structure. We go after the big man, and quite a number of them as we speak. We have quite a number of them on our radar, and until we take down every one of them, I can tell you that the agency will not rest.
It appears that that is certainly also affecting. Yes, the zeal of the NDLEA is also spreading to other institutions, other security institutions, such as the police, because the arrest yesterday of illicit substances was done by the Nigerian police in Borno State. I imagine that by now they would have alerted the NDLEA. We
do work, this not that, like I said, even if we can work with partners across the world. So yes. I mean, definitely we work with the police, the military, immigration, customs, and in some of the instances we even have memorandum of understanding signed with some of these institutions, because it's not our own approach, is a whole of government approach and a whole of society approach.
Can I ask you what the attitude, as we wrap up now, the attitude of other countries, the fact that some countries are now beginning to seek to legitimize some of these drugs, perhaps remove the harmful substances in them. How is that affecting your work here in Nigeria? Because Nigeria seems to have taken a hard line against all form of illicit substance. I do know that conversation, came up once. It was shut down.
Yeah, because we don't have the same. They don't have the same challenges. It
was shut down. So I'm wondering how the attitude of some, because some of our people, we're well-traveled people.
Yes.
They go out and I'm wondering, why is it so hard here? How has the attitude of other countries towards this challenge, especially to some of the lower case drugs, how is it affecting the fight here against some of the drugs? I'm sure you must get this on social media a lot.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, there is no lowercase drug. Drug is drug. And I mean, they are all psychoactive substances. They are mind-altering substances. So, and they have the same effect. Yeah, the degree of effect or consequences may differ, but then over time, the result is the same. It ends in, destruction of futures, lives, health, and life. I mean, absolutely, ultimately, a lot of people die as a result of some of these things. So, but then the world knows, I mean, our counterparts across the world, they know that indeed Nigeria has a peculiar case and we cannot afford to toy with some of the things they toy with. And in some places where they have even tried to be lenient about some of these things, they are making a U-turn again. For instance, in Thailand, I mean, they relaxed the law, and then over time they saw the crime rate going up, the public health problem, I mean, quite more of hospital admission as a result of drug abuse, overdose, and all of those things. Then they have to tighten the nose again. So, because they know the effects of this thing. And for us here, we are not there when we can say, okay, let's allow people to do this. Yeah, that's not to say the fact that, I mean, there are no considerations for, getting this. There have been some discussions about
medical
for export,
yeah.
not for use, for export, to generate revenue. There have been quite a lot of discussions on that, and we are aware. And the agency even had to go out of its way to commission the the Nigerian Academy of Science to conduct a research on this, and their finding was damning. He said, no, because of the effect of this thing, because of the effect of this, and because don't forget that this is the most commonly abused in Nigeria. From the 2018 drug use survey report, out of 14.3 million Nigerians caught within that web, 10.6 million of them alone abuse cannabis. So we cannot toy, we cannot play with that. And for quite a lot of people that have been victims of kidnapping or whatever, they have come out to say perpetually these guys are on these drugs. So because they cannot do what they are doing, I mean, in clear minds or with clear eyes, they have to continue to take this thing to alter the humanity in them, to destroy and suppress the humanity in them to be able to do the kind of things they do.
I wish we could go on and on because we have questions for days, but we have to thank you so much, Mr. Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy at the NDLEA headquarters, for the work that the NDLEA is doing. Please
thank you very much.
Extend our warm regards to the NDLEA, the chairman and members of staff there. And we hope that we'll see a lot more Nigerians taking up this advocacy, and we'll see less and less use of substance abuse on our streets. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much
for coming on the program.
You.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be discussing xenophobia. Some people say it has now gone beyond xenophobia, and the deadline given to not just Nigeria but a host of other African countries. In just a moment, please stay with us. June 30, well, that's the day that South Africa has now, or South Africans have now slated for their major anti-immigration protest. But so far, so good. At least 2 batches of Nigerian immigrants who indicated interest to return to Nigeria have now come back to the country, whilst the country is also getting ready to bring back even more people who have indicated interest. Before now, we had heard Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister, Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, say that they're going to have to get South Africa to, there will be consequences, as a matter of fact, for South Africa. Well, what can those consequences be? And would we say that Africa has been organized enough to speak loudly against the Afrophobia now being exhibited? Because this is just beyond Nigerians now. Afrophobia being exhibited against other Nigeria and other African countries. Joining us now to discuss this matter is Mr. Taufik Raimi, who is a development expert, business economist, and he's a politician as well. And I don't know if there's any politics involved in this. Whatever kind of politics it is, it's certainly not looking pretty, is it?
Yeah, thank you, Mokwe, for having me. And good morning to Nigerians and the entire viewership all across the globe. I quite agree with you. The issue of Afrophobia happening in South Africa, especially to Nigeria as a country. It's not looking pretty good. It's not good at all because we are taught one will expect that we are one continent, African of 1.4 billion people. Nigeria taking nothing less than 1/6 of that population. 230 million people. Also Nigeria and having helped not only South Africa, as we have all have it documented during their days of struggle to become a government or to become a country free. Nigeria has also helped many other African countries, Liberia, we are all aware, several other countries, even most recently, Republic of Benin, when they have their crisis. Nigeria have played a major role in the emancipation of humanity, citizens all across Nigeria, all across Africa, and even beyond. So it is very disheartening to now, you know, it's so emotional to see Nigerians being treated the way we have been treated, especially in South Africa. However, what are the major issues? One would like to commend the President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for swiftly approving the evacuation of Nigerians that have indicated that they want to come back home from South Africa. These have been acknowledged by the Federal Minister of Foreign Affairs and also even a relevant agency. Do you know, Mokwe, that over 1,000 Nigerians have indicated that they want to come back home because they don't want to be caught in the web that may happen by June 30.
Yeah,
only 324 have been evacuated in 2 batches so far, and they've been gladly received by the Nigeria government. They've been provided some succor. Their travel packages were paid by the government, and there are also 3 different supports that have come their way, both from the government, who has provided some stipends, some allowances. Also, corporate organizations has also come to their aid, e.g. the MTN, who gave 50,000 worth of data and some other benefits. Also, several private individuals have also come to their aid. Notably, is the governor of Imo State, who has promised to give each of the evacuees of from his own state 1 million naira. You know, so it is not good. What is happening in South Africa is condemnable. But I'm happy that we have a government that is up to the task. If you look at from the very beginning of time, for this particular president,
is it up to the task of bringing them home, or up to the task of putting pressure on the South African government? Because part of the quarrel a number of people have is that we have not been able to exert enough pressure. Now, if Nigeria alone cannot do it, if this is affecting all African countries, we would have thought that by now, you know, African countries would have been able to coalesce, unite, form an alliance of some sort, to pressure the South African government to do something about what is happening in their country. Do you think that...
that is reasonable to think, but you know, charity begins at home. First of all, as a government, as a country, you must have your own foreign policy, you know. And this president, as far back as October 2022, when he was still a presidential candidate of the APC, he had published what his foreign policy agenda would be on page 70 of an 80-page document. And it's hinged on having 3 things to achieve. And I believe he's using this as strategy for his diplomacy. Number 1, he said he will protect Nigerians from external aggression, and I believe this is one of it. 2, he said he's going to ensure that in any situation, engagement across the globe, he will get the best for Nigeria. So I believe that also answers part of what you are saying. So Nigeria as a government, I believe they are talking with South African government, even though South African government President Ramaphosa, in my own opinion, he has not done enough. Condemning Dudula operation, what they call Dudula operation, march by march, which is the group that are organizing this, you know, forceful emigration of our people. Condemnation is not enough. Look at what Nigeria government, even as a country, is doing here. Currently, South Africa has many businesses in Nigeria. So, but what can we do to move forward? One, Nigeria must activate its own foreign policy and to ensuring that, like I said, all those objectives that the president has mentioned are fully to protect not only Nigeria at home, but also Nigeria abroad.
Let me see if just a moment. Okay, well, say number 2 first, then we can go to Lagos very quickly.
Okay, number 2 is that Nigerians, even not only South Africa abroad, should be abreast of the various reforms that the government has done in order that they can even come back home. Many of the current economic reforms are not just targeting the welfare and the upliftment, living standard of Nigeria at home, but also from those who want to come home. So, number 3, I will challenge the state governments. Because every time we just focus more on the federal government, we know it's the father of all. But you know, Nigeria is a federation. You know, we have other hierarchies. So every other hierarchy, like the states, like Imo State now has said, okay, anyone who is from his own state, he will provide this kind of capital for them to take care of their accommodation or start, some businesses. So I will also ask that other state governors should come up with what do they have in stock for these people. Do not forget, only 1,000 has registered to come back home. Nigerians in South Africa, the statistics we have is about 36,500, according to Wikipedia. And in fact, Nigeria High Commission in South Africa even put it far beyond that. About 500,000 Nigerians are in South Africa. So if we have only evacuated 324, why it is a good step, it means there is more job to be done.
Ayo.
Just one quick question, sir. This matter is not, it didn't just start today. It happens from time to time. What would be your own recommendation beyond the issues that he's just raised now, whether diplomatically or governance related, whatever it is, that can put paid to this so that Nigerians are not living in some kind of fear from time to time, because they never know when these guys are going to come up with this. This is not the first time we're hearing about this matter, and it seems that it is coming from time to time. What can be done, particularly diplomatically, to make sure that this nonsense doesn't continue?
Ayo, that's a very good question you have asked. Number 1, I would recommend 4 things that can be done. One is that government should also find a way to put pressure on South African government to stop this nonsense that has continued to come up, over time. If Nigerian government does not take decisive action, including even, asking South Africans that are here also, there's something that they say fire for fire. Why we are not saying Nigerian can behave erratically like South Africa? Sometimes we may have to get the South African government to know that if they want to continue on this path, we also can also do the same. So I believe that such kind of consequences is very important. Number 2 is that Nigerians themselves that are running to other countries, you won't appreciate what you have until you lose it. Nigeria is a country of 230 million people. Over 45 different mineral and natural resources are here. Government policies are now being changed so that we can have economic stability, the economic environment can improve, manufacturing that some of them are doing there can be done here, education that they are going for over in other countries, including South Africa. The current president has approved a NEL fund, which provide loan. Interest-free loan to those who want to go to school here. The quality of our education is also not bad here. So I think what we are looking for in Sokoto, as a parable, is even right here inside our trouser pocket, Sokoto. So sometimes this emigration outside Nigeria is uncalled for. Whereas we are not saying people cannot travel, but if you don't have genuine reason, please do not travel. Because as an analyst and someone who is objective, I have also noticed 3 things that South Africans who are engaged in this protest have also mentioned. And we must not wish it away because we want to defend our own country. Number 1, they said that the economic situation in South Africa has gotten worse, and the foreigners have created competition for them. Number 2, they said that there is a lot of illegal movement or criminality and drug that is being peddled in South Africa, and they trace it to foreigners. Number 3, they said that they want tighter immigration, you know, in their borders. So if you look at this, I mean, one would say maybe they have some cases, genuine cases, but I would want Nigeria government to put pressure on Cyril Ramaphosa. I want Nigerians themselves to know that with some of the new reforms that have been embarked upon in the last 3 years, we must stay at home as much as possible, because Nigeria cannot be developed largely except by Nigeria. Dangote mentioned this. So we at the APC support all the things the government is doing to be able to retain Nigerians in Nigeria as much as possible. Secondly, I am a member of Tinubu support group. We commend what the government has done so far. We want government to do more. And we believe that through our leader, Right Honorable James Faleke, we are very passionate, we are very concerned, we sympathize with Nigerians that are being forcefully brought back home. They are going through trauma, they are also going through, you know, they've lost livelihood. So we believe that we should continue on the trajectory of developing our own country, so that if our country is developed, less people will want to move out of Nigeria.
Well, we do hope that the South African government will also be at alert tomorrow when that protest eventually happens, and provide safety to the immigrants that are left, especially those who have indicated, but somehow their countries have not yet been able to bring them back home. We have to thank you very much for coming on Sunrise City this morning. Mr. Taufik Raimi is a development expert, business economist, and also...
Dr. Taufik Raimi!
Dr. Taufik Raimi. Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Oh, well, that's where we draw the curtains on Sunrise City this beautiful Monday morning. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. We cross straight to Business Morning.